Chapter 1. Know Thy Origins. Our ancestors practiced the art of looking within twice daily, and so should we. Once in the morning to envision with the rising sun, and once again in the afternoon to reflect upon the events of the day with the setting sun. The art of self-seeking is the beginning of greatness, and the foundations upon which our great civilizations were built and maintained. Looking within allows individuals to discover their true potential, which further allows them to maneuver themselves and to engage the world with greater ease and confidence. Knowing thyself allowed us to achieve greatness because while others saw the essence of God and the secrets of the universe in the vastness of outer space, we, the people of the sun, looked deep within our hearts for the God that was within ourselves. Which is the very reason why we sped away from and reached higher levels of consciousness than any of the other so-called great civilizations. Our enlightenment elevated us to the levels of deities in comparison to the others who existed at the time. And because of this, we were worshipped as such. As the descendants of the ancients, we must understand that Africa is a cradle of humanity, and whose natives are all black because they evolved with the ability to produce melanin, a natural sunscreen that protects us from the sustained periods of sunshine that is indicative of this region. In the beginning, there was only one race, the black race. But by migrating and being exposed to different climatic and environmental conditions, their bodies changed in order to become more efficient and thus adapted to suit their new environment. This is where the other races came from, which therefore means that the people who stayed in Africa remained dark-skinned and unchanged for hundreds of thousands of years. One should also become aware of the fact that the difference between the native Africans and the other races is more than just skin deep, because we are the only race that did not mix with the Neanderthals, a humanoid species that evolved from the Homo erectus that left Africa and went to the colder climates of the north long before modern man. And thus, unlike all the other races, we have none of their genes. Studies of their account of history has also shown that more than 80% of it has either been plagiarized or fabricated. And this was a systematic attempt by their eugenics movement to cripple our confidence by stealing our legacy. They took away our history because they had to conquer our minds before they could conquer our bodies. In fact, if we had known that we were the descendants of some of the greatest kings to have ever lived, we would never have allowed ourselves to be enslaved. This is exactly why the most honorable Marcus Garvey said that a people without the knowledge of their past, history, and culture is like a tree without roots. Some of us are so far out of alignment that we still fail to understand that history was written by the victors, who conquered and strategically went through and eradicated all opposing fields of thought. They had no regard for whether their doctrines were true or false, for all they cared about was their blind devotion. And as a result of this, we were thus cultured and customized in the name of religion. A religion whose teachings were, and still today, alien to them. Our indoctrination is a means by which they pacify and occupy our minds so that our consciousness remains in disarray and disillusion. And to prevent us from gaining any form of enlightenment, they monopolize our thoughts with their customs and beliefs, and thus hinders us from seeing the truth that lies beyond their lies. It is a basic law of conquest. For by giving us to conquer the system of beliefs, they are automatically determining the orientation of our thoughts. In essence, occupying our minds with what they want us to think. and which ultimately prevents us from thinking about anything else. Preventing us from thinking about what we really should be thinking, like trying to find the means by which we will reclaim our rightful place as gods among men.